Friday, June 5th, and something is beginning today that most people are going to miss entirely. Not because it is invisible, because they are not paying attention at the right level, because what is beginning today does not announce itself through the ordinary channels. It does not appear in the news. It does not show up in anyone's calendar. It does not make noise in the way that the world is accustomed to recognizing significance. It announces itself in the soul. In the specific, quiet, unmistakable way that significant energetic events always announce themselves to the ones who are calibrated to receive them. And the ones who are calibrated to receive them are a specific group, not a majority, not even a large minority. A specific number that spiritual traditions across cultures and across centuries have pointed to consistently. The 144,000. The ones whose souls are tuned to a frequency that the majority of the population does not operate at. The ones who feel what others do not feel, who know what others do not know, who sense the movements of something larger than ordinary life in ways that cannot be explained and do not require explanation. If you are watching this, if this message found you on June 5th, you are one of them. And what begins today is something you are going to feel before you understand it. Something that is going to register in your body and your spirit and your energetic field before your mind has had time to process what is happening. So let me tell you what is happening. Let me give your mind the context it needs to cooperate with what your soul is already receiving. Now let me tell you what is specifically beginning on June 5th, because I want to be precise. The universe does not deal in vague beginnings. What starts today has a specific nature, a specific direction, a specific set of consequences for the chosen ones who are aligned with it, and a specific set of consequences for the ones who are not. What is beginning today is a 6-day window. June 5th through June 10th, a concentrated period of energetic momentum in which the universe is moving with unusual speed and unusual intention through the lives of chosen ones who are in alignment. Think of it as a river that has been flowing steadily and that today hits a section of the terrain where the gradient increases dramatically. The water that was moving at a steady pace suddenly moves faster, more powerfully, with more force and more direction, not because the river changed, because the terrain changed. The terrain of the spiritual energetic field changed with the Sagittarius blue moon. The gradient increased. And starting today, June 5th, the river of what the universe has been moving toward you begins its rapid descent, its acceleration, its arrival at the destination that the gradient was always leading toward, and you will feel it, in the specific ways that chosen ones feel energetic acceleration, in the ways that the 144,000 feel what others do not feel. The first way you will feel it is as a sudden increase in synchronicity. Things that seemed unconnected beginning to connect, patterns that were not visible suddenly becoming visible, encounters and conversations and moments that feel arranged rather than accidental arriving with unusual frequency. The universe, moving at its accelerated pace through the terrain of your life, is creating connections between what was and what is coming, between what you have been carrying in faith and what is beginning to arrive in form. And those connections show up as synchronicities, as the meaningful coincidences that chosen ones recognize as communication from the field. Pay attention to every synchronicity that arrives today and in the days that follow. Write them down. Because the pattern they form together is a message, a specific message about what the universe is building in your life in this 6-day window. And the message is going to be clearest to the one who collected the data rather than the one who noticed each synchronicity in isolation and then forgot it as the day moved on. The second way you will feel the beginning of June 5th is as a quality of urgency that is not attached to any specific task, a sense that something needs to happen. That movement is required, that the time for waiting and holding and sitting still has given way to something more active. And this urgency is not anxiety. It does not feel like pressure from the outside. It feels like pressure from the inside. Like something expanding that needs more room than the current container provides. That expansion pressure is the soul responding to the energetic acceleration. The soul knows the gradient has increased. It knows the river is moving faster. and it is pressing the person to match the pace, to be ready to move at the speed the universe is now moving, to not be caught flat-footed when the doors that are opening in this window open fully and require a response. If you feel this urgency today, honor it. Not by filling it with random activity, by directing it toward the specific thing that has been waiting for you to be ready to move, the project that has been calling, the conversation that has been needed, the decision that has been postponed, the step that you knew needed to be taken but that you kept finding reasons to delay. The urgency you feel today is the universe saying the delay is no longer serving you. The time for movement has arrived. Take the step. The third way you will feel June 5th beginning is as an unusual quality of clarity about a specific situation that has been confusing. Situations that carry multiple possible interpretations that have felt murky or difficult to read, suddenly becoming clear. The fog lifting, the signal separating from the noise, the truth of what is happening in a specific area of your life surfacing in a way that you can finally see without the distortion that the waiting season produced. This clarity is one of the most significant gifts of the June 5th beginning. Because clarity produces the ability to act, and action is what the acceleration of this 6-day window requires. The universe is not just creating momentum and then waiting for you to generate your own direction. It is creating both the momentum and the clarity that allows you to direct the momentum effectively. Receive the clarity when it arrives. Do not question it. Do not seek a second opinion before you trust it. Clarity that arrives in the acceleration of a significant energetic window is more reliable than clarity produced by extended analysis, because it is coming from a level above the ordinary analytical mind, from the soul-level perception that the 144,000 have consistent access to. And soul-level clarity does not require external validation to be trustworthy. Trust it. Act on it and let it direct where the momentum of this 6-day window takes you. Now I want to tell you about the specific areas of life that June 5th begins to move in for chosen ones who are aligned with what is starting today. The first area is purpose and calling. For chosen ones who have been unclear about their direction, who have felt the pull of purpose without being able to identify its specific shape, June 5th is when the shape begins to clarify, not fully. Not in a single dramatic revelation, in the way that a distant image clarifies as you move toward it. Each step you take in the general direction brings more detail into focus, and the general direction was already there. The pull was already there. June 5th is when the pull becomes specific enough to act on. The second area is relationships. June 5th begins a period of significant relational movement, connections that have been dormant reactivating, connections that have been building below the surface becoming visible, and connections that have been consuming energy without producing alignment beginning to naturally resolve, not through conflict or drama, through the natural energetic movement of the acceleration. What is aligned with the direction of your soul in this window is drawn closer. What is not aligned is gently moved to its appropriate distance. Pay attention to which relationships feel more alive this week, which connections feel suddenly more significant than they did last week, and which ones feel increasingly distant despite no particular incident or decision. The movement of the relationships around you in this 6-day window is information about who is part of your next season and who was part of the season that just completed. The third area is resources, financial movement, opportunity movement, the arrival of access that was not available before. The universe, moving at its accelerated pace through this window, is rerouting resources in the direction of aligned chosen ones, not always in obvious or expected forms, sometimes through unexpected conversations that open something, sometimes through ideas that arrive and that, when acted on, produce resource flow. Sometimes through the closing of one resource stream and the simultaneous opening of a better one. Be open to resource movement coming in unexpected forms this week. Do not dismiss the unexpected offer because it does not fit the form you were expecting the provision to take. The universe is creative in how it moves resources, and its creativity is always more elegant than the specific form you were imagining. Now I want to speak to something about the nature of the 144,000 that I think is important for chosen ones to understand, because the concept of the 144,000 is one that gets misunderstood. People hear it and they think it means 144,000 specific individuals who were identified before birth and who carry some exclusive spiritual status that others do not have access to, and that is not what it means. The 144,000 is a frequency, a specific vibrational state that a soul reaches through a specific combination of experience and choice and spiritual development. And the souls who are at that frequency, who have been through what is required to reach it, who have chosen consistently in the direction of alignment and growth and the harder path when the easier path was available, those souls carry a specific sensitivity to the movements of the spiritual energetic field that others who have not reached that frequency do not carry. It is not exclusivity, it is development, and the development that brought you to this frequency was not comfortable. It was the testing seasons, the extended waiting, the specific difficulties that refined something in you that could not have been refined any other way. And the sensitivity you carry now, the ability to feel what begins on June 5th before others feel it, is the fruit of that development. You earned this sensitivity, not as a reward in the transactional sense, as the natural result of the specific journey your soul has traveled, and it serves a purpose. The 144,000 are not just receivers, they are transmitters. What they receive, they eventually share. What they sense, they articulate for the ones who cannot yet sense it themselves. What they know, they make available to the ones who are beginning their own journey toward the frequency. Your sensitivity is not just for you, it is for everyone whose path your life will intersect in the seasons ahead. Now let me close with something practical for today, June 5th. The beginning of the 6-day window. Do one thing today that you have been postponing, not the biggest thing, not the most complicated thing. The one thing that has been sitting on the edge of your awareness, asking to be done, and that you have been finding reasons to delay. That thing, do it today, because the acceleration that begins today needs a direction to move in. And the direction you give it by taking one specific step today becomes the trajectory of the entire 6-day window. A small step taken today in the right direction becomes something significant by June 10th, because the river is moving fast. And a boat that is pointed in the right direction, when the river accelerates, arrives at the destination that the river is carrying it toward. A boat that is still deciding which direction to point, when the river accelerates, gets carried somewhere by the current anyway. But not necessarily to the destination it would have chosen. Point your boat today, take the step, give the acceleration a direction to work with, and watch what June does with the direction you gave it. Write in the comments what step you are taking today. I read every one. Subscribe and turn on notifications. The 6-day window is open, and every day of it holds something specific for chosen ones. You need to know what each day carries. Now I want to go deeper on what it actually feels like to be one of the 144,000 in a moment like this. Because I have described the concept, but the lived experience of being someone who feels what others do not feel, who senses the beginning of something before the evidence appears, is something that deserves more than a concept. It deserves acknowledgement because it is not always comfortable, and chosen ones who carry this sensitivity deserve to have both its gift and its cost spoken to honestly. The gift is what I have already described, the early awareness, the ability to feel the movements of the field before they become visible, the sense of connection to something larger than ordinary life that makes the ordinary moments feel charged with significance, the knowing that arrives before the evidence. All of this is genuinely extraordinary, and on days like today when something enormous is beginning and the sensitivity allows you to feel it clearly, the gift is undeniable, but the cost is real too, and it is worth naming. The cost is the isolation that comes with feeling what others do not feel. The difficulty of living in a world that does not share your perception of what is happening. The specific loneliness of knowing something is beginning that the people around you cannot sense. Of feeling the significance of a day like June 5th while the people you love move through it as though it is ordinary. of carrying a sensitivity that sets you apart in ways that are not always understood or appreciated by the people who are closest to you. That isolation is real. And it is one of the specific costs of being one of the 144,000. The sensitivity that allows you to feel the field is also the sensitivity that makes the gap between your experience and others' experience more pronounced. And that gap can be lonely. But here is what I want you to understand about the isolation. It is not permanent, and it is not evidence that something is wrong with you. It is evidence that you are ahead, that you are sensing something that others will eventually sense as well, once the energetic movement that is beginning today becomes visible enough for the less sensitive to perceive it. The chosen one who feels June 5th beginning is not separate from the rest of humanity. They are simply earlier, and being earlier is not the same as being alone. It is being the first to arrive at something that others are on their way to. Your sensitivity is not a wound, it is a vanguard position, and the isolation that comes with it is the specific solitude of someone who arrived before the others, not because the others are not coming, because you got there first. And what you do in the vanguard position, how you navigate what you are feeling before others can feel it, becomes part of what makes the path easier for those who come after you. Your willingness to trust the sensitivity, to act on what you feel before the evidence validates it for others, creates pathways, opens doors, does the energetic work that makes the next season more accessible for the ones whose sensitivity has not yet developed to this level. You are not just receiving today. You are pioneering, and the cost of pioneering is always arriving in territory that others have not yet reached, but the territory is real, and what you build there matters. Now I also want to address something that is very specific to June 5th that I have not yet mentioned. Something about the specific energetic quality of Fridays in periods of significant celestial transition, because not all Fridays are the same. And this Friday, June 5th, in the days following the Sagittarius blue moon and in the middle of the sealing and integration period, carries a quality that amplifies everything I have described. Fridays are energetically significant in the spiritual calendar in a way that most modern spiritual teaching has lost touch with. The end of the week carries a quality of completion and preparation simultaneously, of what was in motion during the week reaching its natural conclusion, and of what the weekend will bring being energetically prepared. It is a threshold moment, a between time, the ending of one rhythmic cycle and the beginning of another, and a Friday that falls in the middle of a significant energetic window as June 5th does carries that threshold quality amplified, the completion of what was moving since the blue moon peaked, and the preparation of what the second half of the 6-day window will deliver. June 5th is the hinge of the window. The day when the first phase of what started with the blue moon completes itself and the second phase begins. And what is the second phase? The first phase from May 31st through June 4th was the internal phase, the integration, the sealing, the formation of the new foundation inside the chosen one. The changes that happened in the spirit and in the energetic field and in the soul-level capacities of the chosen one. Internal, largely invisible, largely felt rather than seen. The second phase, beginning June 5th and running through June 10th, is the external phase. The phase when what was formed internally begins to express externally, when the changes that happened inside the chosen one begin to show up in the visible circumstances of their life. When the spiritual reality that was established during the first phase begins its transition into natural reality. This is why something enormous is beginning today, not in you, in your life. In the visible, natural world can be touched and seen circumstances of the life you are living. The enormous thing that is beginning is the external expression of the internal transformation, and it starts today. And the 144,000 feel it first, because they felt the internal transformation happening when others did not, because their sensitivity extends to the external expression as well. They sense the beginning of what is about to become visible before it is visible. They feel the movement before the movement is apparent. And that early sensing is what allows them to position themselves correctly, to be in the right place, making the right choices, maintaining the right frequency, when what is beginning today reaches its full visible expression in the days ahead. You are feeling it, right now, as you read this, something beginning, something large. Something that your soul recognizes even if your mind has not yet caught up. Trust what you feel, move in the direction it is pointing, and watch the 6-day window deliver what it was always going to deliver to the ones who felt it first. Write in the comments what you are feeling today. I read every one. Subscribe and turn on notifications. The second phase is beginning, and chosen ones need to know what each day of it holds. Now I want to speak honestly about something that I think is important for chosen ones to hold alongside everything I have said today. Because messages about significant energetic windows and enormous beginnings, and 144,000 souls feeling things, first can create a specific kind of spiritual pressure. A sense that if you are not feeling something dramatic today, if June 5th feels like an ordinary Friday, something must be wrong with you, that you missed the window, that your sensitivity is not what it should be, that you are not actually one of the ones this message was meant for. I want to address that directly. Not every chosen one experiences energetic shifts at the same intensity at the same time. The 144,000 is not a uniform group that has identical experiences simultaneously. It is a frequency, and within that frequency there is enormous variation in how each individual soul experiences the movements of the field. Some feel things dramatically and immediately, others feel things subtly and gradually. Some receive the information through strong emotional waves. Others receive it through quiet knowings. Some sense the shift in their body first. Others sense it in their thinking. None of these modes is more valid than another. None of them is more chosen than another. The variation is part of how the field works, and the quieter, more gradual reception is not evidence of lesser sensitivity. It is often evidence of deeper roots. The person whose experience is less dramatic but more sustained is often the one who integrates what they receive most completely. So if today feels quiet rather than enormous, if June 5th arrives without the dramatic sense of something beginning that this message describes, receive that quietly too. The something enormous is still beginning. It is beginning in the way that things begin for you specifically. In the form that your specific soul and your specific nervous system and your specific relationship with the field makes available. And that form is the right form for you, even if it looks different from what you expected. Trust your own experience, whatever form it takes today. And I also want to say something about the practical reality of living as a chosen one in an ordinary world, because the spiritual significance of June 5th does not suspend the ordinary demands of life. You still have responsibilities, work to do, relationships to tend, practical things that require your attention regardless of what is beginning energetically. And sometimes the message about something enormous starting can create a tension with the ordinariness of what the day actually requires. Hold both. The significance and the ordinary, the awareness of what is beginning and the responsibility to what is immediately present. Because the life you are living in the ordinary world is not separate from the spiritual journey. It is the spiritual journey. The enormous thing that is beginning today is not beginning somewhere other than your ordinary life. It is beginning in it, through it, via the ordinary conversations and decisions and relationships and choices of an ordinary Friday in June. The sacred is not somewhere else. It is here, in the ordinary. And the sensitivity you carry, the ability to feel what is beginning on June 5th, is not a reason to disengage from the ordinary. It is a reason to bring more presence and more attention and more conscious intention to the ordinary. Because the ordinary, when met with that quality of presence, becomes the medium through which the enormous thing expresses itself. Show up fully today, for the ordinary and the enormous. And trust that in the fully present chosen one, the two are not separate. June 5th is beginning, something enormous is starting, and you are already in the middle of it. Write in the comments what you felt as you watched this. I read every one. Subscribe and turn on notifications. The 6-day window continues. And what each day carries is something chosen ones need to know in advance. Now I want to give you something specific to carry with you through this Friday, not a spiritual practice or a lengthy exercise, something simple that you can return to throughout the day whenever the ordinariness of June 5th makes the something enormous feel distant. Ask yourself one question, just one, at any moment during the day when you pause for breath, when you are between tasks, when you are walking from one place to another, when you are waiting for something. Ask this: what is the universe trying to show me right now? Not in a searching, anxious way, in a genuinely curious, open way, like someone who knows something is being communicated and who wants to receive it rather than manufacture it. And then be still for just a moment, not long, a breath, maybe two, and notice what surfaces. Sometimes nothing surfaces, and that is fine. The question is not a demand, it is an invitation, and the universe responds to invitations on its own timing, not yours. But sometimes something surfaces, a thought that feels slightly different from ordinary thinking, an impression that arrives with a quality of significance that ordinary impressions do not carry, a feeling that points somewhere, a knowing that says, pay attention to this. When that happens, receive it, note it, trust it enough to stay with it for a moment rather than immediately moving on to the next thing. That practice, repeated throughout the day in these small moments of pause, is how you stay connected to what is beginning on June 5th while still fully engaging with the ordinary demands of the day. It keeps the channel open, keeps the sensitivity active, keeps you available for what the universe is communicating through the events and encounters of this specific Friday. Something enormous is beginning today, and it is speaking to you through the ordinary moments of an ordinary Friday. You just have to be present enough to hear it. Write in the comments what the universe showed you today. I read every one. June 5th, Friday, something enormous is beginning, and the 144,000 feel it first. You are one of them, and today is yours. Now I want to speak to something that the 144,000 specifically experience in the beginning of a significant window like June 5th. Something that is easy to miss because it does not feel significant in the moment, but that is actually one of the clearest signals that the enormous beginning is real and that you are connected to it. It is the sudden remembering of something you had been trying to do for a long time, a project, a conversation, a connection, a creative expression. A step towards something that has been sitting at the edge of your awareness for weeks or months, half-formed, waiting for something that would make it feel possible. And today, without any obvious reason, it surfaces again, with more energy than it had before, with a quality of now that it did not have in the previous times it surfaced. That sudden returning of the thing that had been waiting is not random. It is the universe using the energetic acceleration of this window to return to you the things that were always yours to do, the things that belong to your purpose and your calling that the testing season and the waiting and the difficulty of May had temporarily buried under the weight of surviving. Those things are surfacing now because the weight has lifted, because the new foundation has been established, because the acceleration of this 6-day window is creating the energetic conditions in which what was waiting can finally move forward. When something surfaces today that you had been trying to do and had been unable to reach, do not dismiss it as just a thought. Treat it as a message, as the universe returning to you what belongs to your next season, as the enormous beginning expressing itself through the specific, personal, particular things that are yours to do in the world. Start the thing, even if only in the smallest possible way. Even if just by writing down what it is and committing to one concrete step toward it before the week is out. Because the universe, having returned it to you in the energy of this window, is going to support the first movement toward it in ways that the same movement outside this window would not be supported. This is what the 144,000 know, not just that something enormous is beginning, but how to cooperate with it, how to recognize the specific personal ways it is expressing itself in their ordinary life, and how to take the first small step that gives the enormous beginning a direction to work with. You know this too, you have always known it. Today you are simply being reminded that the knowing is reliable, that the universe is trustworthy, that what surfaces today as the thing that has been waiting is real and worthy of your attention, and capable of becoming exactly what you have been sensing it could become. The enormous beginning needs your cooperation. Give it the first step, and watch what this 6-day window builds from there. Write in the comments what surfaced for you today. I read every one.